Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Geek Boulevard. Steve here with another movie review. I had a choice between going to see either Caught Stealing with Austin Butler or going to see The Toxic Avenger. So I decided to go ahead and check out The Toxic Avenger because I had much more of a curiosity to check it out. And as I have not seen, of course, the original Trauma film or its sequels that followed, I felt a duty to check this one out and just kind of give my overall thoughts on it. I do remember when G4 would run reruns of those movies on their network like way back in the day. Yeah, simple times. But, you didn't come here to watch me reminisce about the good old days. You came to see if I enjoyed The Toxic Avenger. Now, if you've seen my out of theater reaction, you kind of know my thoughts overall, but if you haven't, I'm here to give you my full and final thoughts on this movie. The Toxic Avenger is directed by Macon Blair. It's being released in its unrated format with a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. A janitor becomes a social outcast when a freak accident at a chemical factory turns him into a mutant. However, he soon uses his newfound superhuman strength to battle slimy criminals and a corrupt CEO. Now, despite the film already having its premiere back in 2023 at Fantastic Fest, it had a lot of trouble securing a distributor, so it sat on the shelf for a while. No one was willing to pick it up due to its violent material. Cineverse, however, were the ones to take on the task of releasing it in its full unrated format, and most of the showings are at night, reasonably so, but I was able to actually catch a matinee screening of it, which was very helpful for me as I'm more of a matinee person and I like to avoid, the large crowds at theaters in the evening time. So watching this reboot of the Toxic franchise, I will say this is dedicated to a very specific audience. This movie is for lovers of 80s B movies, which I initially didn't really consider myself to be until I found out that, movies like Friday the 13th, Evil Dead, all fall under that category, so I guess I am a fan. This is a movie that knows exactly what it is. It doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever, and having watched it, I had a blast with this. I had gone in with expectations of gore, cheesy jokes, practical makeup. There is some CGI kind of mixed in there in some of the more violent scenes, but it doesn't take away from the movie for me at all. It was just good fun. I'll start with Peter Dinklage as Winston Goose, who will eventually become the Toxic Avenger. I liked him as Winston. He's a pretty pathetic guy when we first meet him. He's just living this meager existence with his stepson Wade, who's played by Jacob Tremblay. They're both dealing with the loss of Wade's mother and Winston's wife, so they're trying to use this time to try to understand each other better. And I like their chemistry as father and stepson. I think they have a good dynamic, and it's this relationship that is the sole heart of the film. So that father and son relationship is not lost in the story, and I was pleased that Macon Blair, who also wrote the screenplay in addition to directing, kept that front and center with all of this craziness going on throughout the movie. I also really enjoyed our villains in the film, the main one being Kevin Bacon as Bob Garbinger, who is this disgusting, despicable CEO type person who is all about money and just polluting the environment. He doesn't really care about anything. Bacon was very much enjoying himself and just kind of letting loose with this character. This movie has a lot of satire in it, and I think the way that he understood that while filming and just kind of ran with it was a good bit of fun, and that shows on screen. Elijah Wood also plays Bob's younger brother Fritz, who looks a lot worse off than Bob does. He walks with a cane, he's all hunched over, he's going bald despite having these long scraggly strands of hair, and he's the one that essentially does all the dirty work for his brother. He's essentially the cleanup guy, or rather his band is the Killer Nuts that go around killing people for knowing just a little too much about the company's inner workings. I just love Elijah Wood as an actor, so I was pleased to see him share some screen time with Bacon, and it looks like he's also having the time of his life in this movie as well. Like I said, this film embraces satire, it embraces the raunchiness of its source material that it's based off of. There's gore, there's nudity, there's cheesy jokes, it's got all of that in spades. But the real standout here, and I cannot stress this enough, is the practical makeup for Toxie, which was done by Millennium FX. Luisa Guerrero is the actress under all of that practical makeup, performing all the physical movements of Toxie on set. So Dinklage was not in the actual suit. He only provided ADR for the character, and I think he even said so himself at San Diego Comic-Con. I'll be honest though, it really does work. Louisa studied Dinklage's movements, the way that he speaks, to kind of better match with his voice and gait, and I didn't really notice any of the lines being like out of sync, which was quite a relief. I mean, if you want to see bad examples of ADR, just watch Madam Web.
You have no idea of the torment and torture of dying. Where's my spider? They took my spider.
So I hope that Louisa, she gets all the credit that she so rightly deserves, because to spend 4 hours every single day applying that makeup and also staying in that makeup for multiple hours throughout the entire production, just that is warrior behavior if I ever knew of it. And it does make me question a little bit as to why Dinklage didn't want to be in the makeup, but I'm also kind of glad that Dinklage was not in the actual makeup, because then it wouldn't have given the opportunity to someone like Louisa to be able to pull this off. Does the film have negatives? I would say yes, if you are trying to look at it from like a traditional like filmmaking perspective. Yeah, it's got things wrong with it. Like the acting is questionable at times, the jokes don't always land, things like that. But if you set your expectations to what this movie is trying to be from the start, those negatives are what add to its charm. So to me, because I walked into the theater thinking this was going to be an 80s raunchy horror style comedy with nudity and gore, that's exactly what I got. This is a niche movie that is not going to be to everyone's taste, and that's totally fine. But to me, it was fun, and I think those qualities add charm and give personality to the movie. Overall, I'm gonna give The Toxic Avenger a score of 4 out of 5. A fitting love letter to the trauma films of old it is based off of. Peter Dinklage does a fine job as Winston Goose, aka Toxie, and the chemistry he has with Jacob Tremblay was endearing, and that relationship is without a doubt the heart of the film. Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood have a lot of fun playing the villains, and the practical makeup for Toxie is just really, really cool. But Luisa Guerrero, who is in the makeup, is the true hero of this production and brings the physical presence of Toxie to life and makes him work the best way she can. Those are my thoughts. Now I want to know what you guys thought of The Toxic Avenger. Have you seen it yet? Are you a fan of the original or Troma Studios in general? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below, and don't forget that if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, tick that bell. Make sure you're staying up to date on the channel for my next movie review or trailer reaction. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you each and every day. Remember to always stay classy, stay geeky, and I'll catch you in the next video.